And I do want to wish everyone at home a very happy Independence Day if you are Mexican or someone who is a lover of Mexico, an honorary Mexican, I guess. As some Mexicans in my comments section once said about a Costa Rican singer who became very popular in Mexico. A Mexican can be born wherever the fuck he wants to be. A couple people have said that about me and said I've become an honorary Mexican in some sense. That's not for me to decide. That's for other people to decide. But every September 16th and 15th, of course, which is really when the celebration does begin, I feel excitement for the Mexico I know and for the parties that I know are taking place and just for the whole experience that I lived through. For anyone who's newer to my channel, I lived in Mexico City for a year. I traveled extensively through the country. And today I want to talk about the experience of actually being in Mexico City for Independence Day back in 2018. Of course, every country likes their independence, right? Canada, we have Canada Day every July 1st. The United States of America, they have theirs July 4th. So it's a big day for many, many different cultures. But there's something special about the way Mexico celebrates that I think is very, very meaningful. In Mexico, in the capital city, right outside the presidential palace, there's an event called El Grito. And El Grito just means like the cry or the scream. And basically it is reenacting a bit of history which took place many, many years ago. I believe it was 1810. When the beginning of the Mexican War for Independence started, when this priest named Hidalgo, Miguel Hidalgo, he wanted to rally the people of Mexico to fight back against the rich Spanish leaders who were kind of keeping them in a bad situation. And he went late at night and he started ringing the church bell. And that was his sign, ringing this giant bell to gather everyone in the square. And then he gave this passionate speech about why Mexico needs to be free. And, the story goes that was the first beginnings of what turned into the War for Independence, which eventually led Mexico to be its own sovereign country. And the war of independence would last for just over 11 years. And it would conclude on the 27th of September, 1821. Oh, that's crazy. That's almost 200 years. Wow, so that will be a day to celebrate as well. But what I find interesting is the actual Independence Day is not the day when the war was won, but it was the day that first cry was made. That first, El Grito is the moment that is most remembered. To a Mexican or whatever, this might seem no big deal or just a normal thing, but I think there's something to be said about the culture in that decision to celebrate the cry and not the victory. It's like that passionate beginning is what matters most. That passion, that decision, that deciding to begin the war, not necessarily to win it. It's that fighting spirit that is celebrated. And I don't know if there's other examples of this. Like, I don't know if other countries, have similar Independence Day stories. I only really know my own country, Canada, July 1st. We signed some documents and we became free from England. But we weren't like screaming and we weren't, there was no Canadian priest like ringing some bell outside of a Tim Hortons coffee shop and being like, time to fight back. No, but in Mexico there was. And every year, to commemorate that, outside of the presidential palace in Mexico City, they have the same bell, the very same bell that Hidalgo rang. And the president of Mexico, the current president, will go there and will ring it. And he will, say a few words to a huge crowd of people outside of the palace, and that's El Grito. There's a concert, there's fireworks, but that moment ringing the bell, which I heard in 2018, is definitely the main attraction, the main reason people are there. it's not like all tens of millions of Mexicans can all like squeeze into one area. Like there's lots of people celebrating at home, doing their own thing. But for people in the center of Mexico City, the center of the capital, that's definitely the main event. And I saw it in 2018, and I'll never forget the moment the bell was ringing. It's a connection to the past. It's a connection to the spirit of Mexico, I suppose. However you are celebrating, obviously, it's still COVID times, so maybe there's not as many big celebrations, but it doesn't always have to be a big celebration. Sometimes it can just be you remembering what your country means to you, you taking a moment with a few friends, a few family members, just to appreciate the place that you live.